Hi, it's Dawn from Ninja Bunny Crochet. Today I have for us to do this really cute tooth fairy pillow. It's got the little sleepy face on the front, shaped like a tooth, and on the back it's got a little pocket for your child to put their tooth in. And when they fall asleep, you can put the little prize in there for them. In our house, we always put a little bit of money in there for their tooth. And when they wake up in the morning, they'll have their prize right there in their pocket. This tooth fairy pillow is approximately 8 inches tall. So let me drop down the camera and I'll talk about the yarn that I used and the hook and anything else you might need to make this cute little tooth fairy pillow. The yarn I used is Big Twist Value. This is a yarn that you can purchase through Joann Fabrics. It's exclusively sold through Joann's. It is a 100% acrylic yarn and it is a medium 4. You will need approximately 150 yards of your main color. So in this case I was using white. And you will also need just a little bit of black for the eyes and the mouth. You will also want some polyfill or some type of stuffing to stuff the pillow. I don't have an exact measurement of how much of the filling that you'll need. It really depends on how firm or how soft you want to stuff your pillow. The hook size that I used for my pillow is a G 4.0 millimeter hook. You'll also need a yarn needle to weave in your ends and a pair of scissors to cut your yarn. And you may want to have a stitch marker or two on hand just in case you need that. It's always good to have stitch markers. So once you have all of your supplies, let's get started. Before I jump into today's tutorial, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that icon down in the corner down there. That'll automatically subscribe you to my channel. And while you're down there, don't forget to ring that bell because that'll notify you whenever I upload a new video. And if you like content like this, don't forget to give it a thumbs up because that lets YouTube know that you like my content and it also helps me gauge what videos you would like to see on my channel. So before I get into the tutorial itself, I just want to describe how we're going to be constructing our pillow today. We're going to be making 2 panels. We're going to make a front panel and then we're going to make a back panel and we're going to be sewing them together with a nice little whip stitch all the way around the entire thing. And we're going to be doing this little back pocket separately. We're going to sew the eyes and the mouth on before we sew the pillow together, and we're also going to sew this little back pocket on again before we sew the pillow together. As we're sewing the pillow together, we're also going to be stuffing it with the polyfill. So with that being said, let's get our hook and our yarn out. So we're going to be starting our pillow with a slip knot on our hook and we're going to work a chain of 20. So just keep working your chain until you have 20 chains. And then we'll be right back to start our pillow. Now that we have our chain of 20, we're ready to start. We're going to flip the chain over and we're going to be starting in these back bars of the chain. I think it gives the project a nice finished edge. So we're going to work in the second chain from hook. The loop on our hook does not count as a stitch. We're going to go 1, 2, and start in the second chain right here. So we're going to work a single crochet. In the next 2 chains, we're going to work half double crochets in each. So 1 half double crochet in the next 2 chains. They're going to be a little tight. Just take your time. So 1, 2. In the next chain, we're going to work a double crochet. In the next chain, a treble crochet. You work a treble by yarning over twice. Insert into the chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. And that's your treble crochet. We're going to work a double crochet in the next chain, And in our next 2 chains, we're going to work half double crochets. So 1 in each. It's 1 and 2. In the next 3 chains, work 1 slip stitch. Careful not to have your slip stitches too tight because we will have to work into them on our next row. That's 2 and 3. And 2 half double crochets in the next 2 stitches. Oh, excuse me, 1 half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. We need to make sure we word that correctly so that you get the right instructions. So that's 1 and 2. Double crochet in the next stitch. And a treble crochet in the next. Double crochet in the next. And half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So 1 and 2. And in that very last stitch, we're going to put 1 single crochet. It's going to be a little tight in that last stitch. So just take your time to get your hook in there. Yarn split. There we go. And now that is the end of row 1. And it looks like this. We have the two lumps, or the 2 humps for the top of the tooth. So we're going to chain 1 and turn the work, and we're ready to work row 2. For row 2, we're going to put 1 single crochet into each stitch. We have 19 stitches at the end of row 1, and we'll have 19 stitches at the end of row 2. So just put 1 single crochet into each stitch. I will meet back up with you at the end of row 2. At the end of row 2, we have 19 stitches still. To start row 3, we're going to chain 1 and turn the work. In the very first stitch, place 2 single crochets. In the next 17 stitches, 1 single crochet, and in the very last stitch, 2 single crochets. So I will meet back up with you at the end of the row. I'm at the end of row 3. I've got that 1 last stitch left, and we're going to place 2 single crochets into it for a total of 21 single crochets. To start row 4, we're going to chain 1, turn the work, and we're going to put 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way across the row. I will meet back up with you at the end of the row. We're at the end of row 4. We have 21 single crochet. For row 5 through row 20, we're just going to repeat row 4, which is chain 1, turn the work, and 1 single crochet in each stitch. So we're going to start row 5. So for row 5 to row 20 is exactly the same as row 4, just 1 single crochet into each stitch. So I will meet back up with you once you have row 5 to row 20 done. So at the end of row 20, I will meet back up with you, and we'll start the first root. That would be right here, one of the legs. So I'll meet back up with you at the end of row 20. I'm at the end of row 20. We still have 21 stitches. To start the first root, we're going to chain 1 and turn the work. This is going to be row 21. And we're going to single crochet in the first 10 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, and 10. And we're going to leave the remaining stitches unworked for right now. To start row 22, we're going to chain 1 and turn the work, and we're going to single crochet our way back to the beginning. So 10 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 9, 10. Now we're back at the beginning, and we are at the end of row 22. We still have 10 stitches, and now we're going to start row 23, and we're going to start decreasing. So we're going to turn the work, we chain 1, turn the work, and in that the first 2 stitches, we're going to single 2 together. So how we do that is we insert into the stitch, pull up a loop, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. So now we made 2 stitches into 1. And we're going to single crochet into the next 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and that leaves us 2 stitches on the end, and we're going to do that single 2 together again. So insert into the next stitch, pull up a loop, insert into the last stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3. So now we have 8 stitches. I'm going to chain 1, and we're going to turn the work. And for row 24 and 25, we're just going to single crochet into each stitch. So I'll meet back up with you at the end of row 25. We're at the end of row 25. We still have 8 stitches. To start row 26, we're going to chain 1 and turn the work. We're going to single 2 together. So we're going to insert into that first stitch, pull up a loop, insert into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. And we're going to put 1 single crochet into the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that leaves us 2 stitches. And we're going to single those 2 stitches together again. So we're going to single 2 together again, insert, pull up a loop, insert into the last stitch, and pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3. Now that brings us down to 6 stitches. I'm going to chain 1 and turn for row 27. So 27 and 28 are going to be single 1 stitch, single crochet into each stitch, so single 1 in each, and that's for row 27 and row 28. So I will meet back up with you at the end of row 28. We're at the end of row 28. We still have 6 stitches. To start row 29, we're going to chain 1 and turn the work. We're going to start with that single 2 stitches together, single 2, the first 2 together, so pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. We're going to single the next 2 stitches, so 1, 2, and we're going to single crochet the next 2 stitches together, that brings us down to 4 stitches. To start row 30, we're going to chain 1, turn the work, and for row 30 and 31, we're going to single crochet into each stitch. So it's going to be 4 stitches. So that's 2, 3, and 4. So that's row 30. And then we're going to chain 1 and turn and repeat that for row 31. And since we just have 4 stitches, I'm going to just go ahead and continue doing that. So that's 2, 3, and 4. Now our last row, row 32, we're going to chain 1, we're going to turn the work, and we're going to single 2 together, and we're going to do that 2 times. So there's 1, and we're going to do that 1 more time, and that leaves us 2 stitches, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to fasten off. We don't need to leave a really super long tail on this one because we are going to be single crocheting around the entire piece when we finish the other leg, the other root. Now to start the second root, we're going to go ahead and put a slip knot on our hook. And we're going to take our piece and we're going to flip it over. So this is our right side. And take our hook with our slip knot. And right where that 10th stitch is, we're going to skip the next stitch right here. We're going to skip that one. And we're going to start in this stitch right here. So insert your hook into that stitch and we're going to do what's called a standing single crochet. We're going to attach our yarn with a single crochet. So we inserted our hook. We're going to pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through like a single crochet. Now you can work over this tail or you can just leave it hanging and weave it in later. For tutorial purposes, I'm just going to go ahead and leave it hanging. So that is our first stitch, that's 1. And we're going to work in the next 9 stitches for a total of 10 single crochet. 9 and 10. So this would be considered row 1 of our left side root. To start row 2, we're going to chain 1 and turn the work. Now if this tail becomes distracted to you, you can just go ahead and weave that in right now. So for row 2, we're just going to single crochet once in each stitch, so that'll be 10 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 9, and 10. So we still have 10 stitches, and basically we're doing the same thing that we did on this side again. So for row 3, we're going to chain 1, turn the work, and we're going to single crochet 2 together. And then single crochet in the next 6 stitches. 1, 2, 5, and 6. And single crochet these last 2 stitches together. And that gives us 8 stitches. Chain 1, turn the work. For row 4 and 5, we're just going to single crochet in each stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Just continue single crocheting in each stitch for row 4 and 5, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of row 5. At the end of row 5, we still have 8 stitches. To start row 6, we're going to chain 1, turn the work, And we're now on another decrease row. So we're going to do single crochet 2 together and single crochet in the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then single crochet 2 in the last 2 stitches, single crochet 2 together. And that brings us down now to 6 stitches. Chain 1, turn the work. And for rows 7 and 8, we're just going to single crochet in each stitch. And I'll meet back up with you at the end of row 8. So we're at the end of row 8. We still have 6 stitches. We're going to start row 9, and this is going to be one of our decrease rows. So we're going to single crochet 2 together. And single crochet in the next 2 stitches. 1, 2, and then single crochet 2 together in the last 2 stitches. And it now brings us down to our 4 stitches. Chain 1 and turn. So row 10 and 11, we're just going to single crochet in the 4 stitches. For row 10 and 11, since we only have 4, we're just going to go ahead and do that on camera. That's 2, 3, and 4. So that's row 10, chain 1, turn. And we're going to do that one more time for row 11. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Chain 1. And now for row 12, we're going to single crochet 2 together twice. So that's 1 and 2. And this time we're not going to fasten off, because we're going to single crochet around the whole outside edge of our piece. So chain 1, and we're going to turn our work horizontal, and you can work over the tails as you're going around, or if you want to stop and leave those in, that's up to you. I'm going to go ahead and work over them. So just 1 single crochet into the ends of each of the rows, all the way around your panel or your tooth, until you get back to the beginning, and you're going to slip stitch to the very first single crochet that you made, which is not going to be this one over here, it's going to be this one right here. So I will meet back up with you when we get all the way back around. I made it all the way back to the beginning, and we're going to slip stitch to that first single crochet that we made. And we're going to go ahead and fasten off, and make sure you leave a nice long tail for sewing. And oops, here we go. Here's our panel. Now go ahead and back up the video and make a second panel so that you have 2 of them. I've already got one already pre-made, so I have 2. And once you have both your panels, come on back and we'll work on the pocket, and we'll sew our little face on, and then we'll be ready to assemble the pillow. Before we sew our pillow together, we need to make our back pocket. So we're going to go ahead and start with a slip knot on our hook, and we're going to do a chain of 11. So keep chaining until you have 11, and then we'll come back and start working on the pocket. Now that we have our chain of 11, we're going to start second chain from hook, the loop on the hook does not count as a stitch, go ahead and flip your chain over. We're going to work in the back bars. So 1, 2, these back bumps. So we're going to work single crochet. So work 1 single crochet in each of the back bumps or the chains. So you should have 10 single crochets. And I'll meet back up with you at the end of the chain. So we're at the end of the chain. We have 10 single crochet. I'm going to chain 1, turn the work, and we're going to repeat row 1. We're going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch, and we're going to do that for a total of 10 rows. So for 9 more rows, just work 1 single crochet into each stitch. I will meet back up with you at the end of row 10. At the end of row 10, and we're going to chain 1, and we're going to turn the work so the ends of the rows are facing up, and then just put 1 single crochet in the end of each row, and we're going to go all the way around the entire pocket. So just keep putting 1 single crochet in the end of each row. When you get to the bottom, 1 single crochet in the underside of the chain, and then on the side, and all the way back to the beginning. And I'll meet back up with you when we get back to the beginning. We're all the way back to the beginning, and we're going to go ahead and slip stitch to the first single crochet that we made, and we're going to go ahead and fasten off. Make sure you leave a nice long tail so that we can sew our pocket on to our pillow. Next, we're going to go ahead and work on the face. So go ahead and get your little bit of black and put your eyes and your mouth on. Now you can use safety eyes if you like. I prefer to embroider the eyes on simply because I feel that safety eyes, even though they do have that little wing, I don't know if you want to call it like a wing nut or something on the back of the safety eye, I still think that they can easily come off crochet because they can come in between the stitches and pop off. So when I feel that embroidering the eyes on is safer when you're giving this to a child. But it's really up to you. So let's go ahead and make our, take one of our panels on the front side of the panel and embroider our face on, and then we're going to take and sew our pocket onto the back, the front side of the back panel. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll be ready to sew our pillow together. Okay, now that we have our face embroidered on and the pocket sewn on, we're ready to assemble our pillow. So we're going to put the wrong sides together, and we're going to start sewing around the outside edge, and when we get about halfway through, we're going to start stuffing the pillow too. So we're going to thread up our yarn needle with one of the long tails and go through, I'm going to go through like both sides of the stitch and just do a nice little whip stitch. And just whip stitch the pillow together, making sure you're going through both loops of the stitch. There we go. And as I said, once you get so far along, you're going to want to start to stuff your pillow. Now, I'm not going to be sewing this whole thing on camera. I'll go ahead and get around so far, and then we'll start stuffing it. Okay, but continue sewing your pillow, and then when you get so far, get your batting out or your polyfill out, and then you can start stuffing your pillow. I'm just got the roots left to sew together, so I'm just putting stuffing into the pillow now. So this is, I'm going to make sure that the top is got some stuffing so that you have that nice little curve up at the top. And I'm going to just stuff it, make sure there's some in the roots, just like that, on both sides. And make sure you got your tail pulled out so that you can continue sewing. So depending on how firm you want your pillow will depend on how much stuffing you want to put in there. And you can always start sewing, and if you have a little too much stuffing, you can take it out. If you don't have enough stuffing, you can put some more in. So it all depends on how fat you want your pillow to be. If you want it skinny or if you want it stuffed. I usually like to stuff it pretty tight. So there, we're going to have enough. I think that should be enough right there. And then we're going to put the yarn needle back on there and continue sewing. So I probably have a lot more yarn there than I need to finish this up, but just going to put the root back together and just continue closing up the end of the pillow. Like I said, if I find that this is not enough stuffing in there, I can always add a little more. If find that it's, too big, I can always pull some out. So I'm going to go ahead and continue sewing this together, and once I get it all done, I'll be right back. So here's the one that we made together, and here is the one I had in the beginning. So now I have two. So if you've liked this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to ring that bell. Thanks for watching, and happy crocheting! Bye-bye!